I'm Pat Brown, been in Brooks since 1966. I came to Brooks working for Schlumberger in the oil patch and got into production side of things, consulting and doing field work for other companies, and eventually got into developing some production for myself and other investors. The railroad developed natural gas in Brooks itself, adjoining the railroad and in the city of Brooks now. The railroad owned the wells, and I think eventually sold their rights and everything in the area to Canadian Western Natural Gas, who operated the systems till they switched over. Now it's ATCO. But those wells, Brooks used to have gas street lights on Main Street down there, and the railroad actually railed natural gas in rail cars from Brooks. I believe Bassano ended up with gas street lights too, but all the way to Strathmore. For as far as the development of the natural gas industry, that took a lot longer, and of course that started big time here. There was oil development in the late 40s, and then in the 50s it got growing bigger in the Tilley area, north of Brooks, south of Brooks, west of Brooks, and etc. Bassano. That's about when it really got going. And the natural gas industry, the proliferation started in the mid-60s and then grew like crazy through the 60s, 70s, into the 80s, when thousands and thousands of wells, without exaggerating, were drilled. The drilling process is it's simple, rotating pipe with a bit on the bottom, circulating fluid to bring up your solids, stripping the solids out, and you keep using the same fluid and add to it as you go down, and being careful about direction. You want to be drilling straight usually. Now they come down and they take off and go every direction. So, you get the rig, stand it up, you got the crew, and it's all the guys that put it together as drilled down. When you reach the depth where your hole is done, that's where some of the service companies started to come in beside the cementers. You have to set a length of pipe in the ground to start with. So you drill a hole down, let's say 200 feet. Now it's 600 feet, and you cement it in. You let that sit for 24 hours or so, and then you go to drill your main hole. And when they get the hole done, the next thing usually which would happen is they call it logging, because they're running a logarithmic survey. It's a cable with electronics inside it, with a tool on the bottom to tell you what the zones are. It tells you the resistivity, let's say, of the formation. What you're looking for is a porous zone, and you may be able to detect oil in it too, if it is. If it's producing enough from that information and the logs and this and that, then they would run string of casing all the way to bottom and cement that in. So then you've got your pipe cemented in there, and next thing is to get back to the outside of the pipe. Okay? So that's what perforating originally. Most of it was done with shaped charges. You run a tool in and set it off, electronic. It's explosive. Poof, it burns and goes that way. And that gives the hole out to the formation. Then whatever's back there can come on its own, and if that don't work, then you do an acid job or a special chemical wash or something like that. So if you hope that you get your production. If it's oil, you usually would immediately set up some tankage, a separator where you can separate the oil and the water. Usually you let the water and the oil go to a tank, but you may have gas in it too. So you'd set up a separator, pipeline run from the wellhead to a separator. The gas goes to the top, comes off, and probably would go to flare, and you put your oil across to a tank. And then you can truck it or do whatever then. Till you got enough wells to justify setting up a battery of 6, 8, 10, 12 wells, and then you'd probably pipeline them all together and have a main line going to a major pipeline to take it away and sell it. So that's, again, simplified operation, but that's the way it worked.